Percocet, yeah. Miley Percocet, Percocet, yeah. Miley Percocet.
Drug abuse has become very popular in the 21st century. People abuse sleep aids, cold medicines, and even diet pills. All these drugs are sold over the counter, making it easier for people to gain access to them. Over the counter cough syrup is frequently abused by young people seeking to get a high. Drug abuse has become so popular that mainstream artists like Future are glorifying it in their music, as you hear in the song played in the background. Percocet contains a combination of acetaminophen and oxycodone. Oxycodone is an opiate pain medication, and opiate pain medication is sometimes called a narcotic. There are various categories of drugs, and the uses and the effects vary. One of the categories that I want to talk about is stimulants. Stimulants are drugs like cocaine, methamphetamine, or amphetamine, things that give you a rush. They're also known as, coke, flake, snow. Those are some of the street names that they may give them. Crank, crystal meth. All those things are stimulants, and they can be snorted, smoked, injected, or some of them can be even consumed orally. Another one is cannabis. Cannabis is a drug. We call it marijuana, weed, dope, that kush, that gas. And it's normally in the form of, a grassy-like substance. And you have like hash and hash oil. And those things are normally, the hash oil will be taken oral, and the marijuana would be smoked. And when you smoke marijuana, you get this little lackadaisical feeling where you kind of slow, relax, and a lot of people say that it causes fatigue or paranoia, and some people also say that it decreases appetite. But for other people, they say that they get what you call the munchies. Another category of drugs that the book discusses is narcotics. Narcotics are like heroin, morphine, hydrocodone, codeine. And they come in various types of form. Oxycodone is a type of narcotic. Dopamine is a type of narcotic. These give you a physical high. They can be injected, snorted, smoked, and they can even be taken orally. And what they do, if you overdose on these drugs, you'll be slow and shallow breathing, calmly your skin, and you could also. Another category of drugs that we're going to discuss are depressants. Depressants are things like Valium, Xanax, Ambien. Depressants normally they take right after the name, kind of like to depress you, to have you feeling kind of slow, mellow. They're normally digested orally. If you take one, your speech will be slurred. You have drunken behavior with an odor of alcohol. And also, if you take too much of these in a possible overdose, it could result in death. The next category of drugs is hallucinogens. And hallucinogens are things like LSD. One of my favorite movies, Friday, if you notice, Smokey, after he got out the car with the Latinos, he was kind of moving around, patting on himself. That was a result of consuming LSD. Inhalants. They're like nitrous, oxidized, different other inhalants, like laughing gas, different things like that. These can cause you, they're normally inhaled, and also an overdose in them could result in death. Another category of drugs is anabolic steroids. A lot of people, especially a lot of sports players, consume these steroids. They're extremely unhealthy, and they can cause possible side effects. They're normally ingested orally, and sometimes they can be injected. And on overdosing, these will lead to sudden death. So why do people use drugs? There are various reasons and various things that we can talk about, but one of the main reasons why people use drugs is they want to forget about their problems, and they want to forget about their stress, and they think that if they use these drugs, that the problems will be eliminated. Also, it may be related to genetics and family history. People grow up in homes where alcohol is abused, or they think these things are common, and they begin to do these things. Substance abuse in high school. Studies have shown that students who use drugs in college probably started off using them in high school. They may have mental health problems, and they may just start off as a prescription, and they begin to abuse that drug. sorority and fraternity memberships, increases drug use, and also stress. Sometimes people just get so stressed out that they feel that they have to turn to drugs or alcohol. So why don't some college students use drugs? How can we help alleviate the problems and those issues that may increase drug use or drug consumption? One of the first things that you want to do is make sure that you have a positive attitude and behavior. Your attitude determines your altitude. Another thing that the book notes is religion and spirituality. Make sure that you hold yourself accountable, trust in a higher power, a higher being to give you courage and wisdom and strength. And also student engagement. If you or someone you know is affected by drug abuse, encourage that student to get involved in various activities on campus. For instance, college athletics. Play sports. Some sports players, especially for colleges and Olympics and things like that, they can't use drugs because if they're caught using drugs, they can be disqualified. And also, you want to have a healthy social network. Make sure that there are people that you can talk to, that you trust, that can help you in your time of need and in your time of trouble. So there's so many causes of using drugs, and the book covers so much, from abusing drugs and the physical effects, the mental effects of drugs. And a lot of times we think that these things may not impact us, but they have a direct impact on our mind. They can destroy our brain cells. They can just cause so much harm and so much damage. So I want to make sure that you understand that if you or someone you know may be on drugs, there are resources out there. There are treatment plans and there are recovery. One of the ways that you can treat it is through detoxification. And detoxification refers to early abstinence during which an addict adjusts to physically and cognitively be free from the substance influence. And what that means is that your body will take time. You will go through a state of withdrawal where you will begin to detoxify your body and your mind from the drugs that you've taken so that you can overcome. There are various programs like NA, which is Narcotics Anonymous. These programs are all over the world, all over the United States. They're what they are, Narcotics Anonymous. They're for people who have abused narcotics. They even have AA, Alcoholic Anonymous. If you are struggling with these issues, there are other people who are there to help you deal with these. Studies also show that 10 million people reported driving under the influence of illicit drugs last year. You don't want to be driving while intoxicated or under the influence or under these illicit drugs. There's help for you. And we have to, as a community, as a body of believers or students, we have to be willing to take the next steps in making sure that we can prevent drug abuse and drug use not only on our campus but in our communities. And that's why we have things like urine tests and saliva tests, hair tests, and blood tests. All these types of things help to assist the community in figuring out how can we monitor or watch those who may be using drugs. Because if you want to apply for a good job and if there are drugs in your system, if they do a drug test, you're not going to pass the drug test. And it's not illegal for employees to require their employees to require their employees to take a drug test. Possible solutions to the drug problem: one, stricter border surveillance to reduce drug trafficking, longer prison sentences for drug dealers, increased government spending on prevention, and enforcing anti-drug laws. Now, because I understand what drugs, the communities that are affected more so with drugs, I would be wrong to support some of these possible drug solutions. Because if you haven't, I want to encourage you to watch 13th. This is the documentary about the prison incarceration. I don't know if you've paid attention to it, but when the crack cocaine epidemic came out, it was basically destroying predominantly black communities and Latino communities. And nobody really did anything about that other than, making sure that people went to jail, third strike you out. But methamphetamine, which is known as crystal meth, was a drug that really affected the white community. And there were so many programs set up to help women who were addicted to meth, whereas none of those programs were set up to help African American men and women who were addicted to crack cocaine or addicted to heroin. So I do understand that there are different political agendas, maybe even racial promotions when it comes to drug abuse and drug use and even drug prevention. But I do want to encourage you, regardless of the color of your skin, if you know someone who's addicted to drugs, see to it that you can do something to help them get the help that they need. And that's all of my program, all of my research for today. I hope that this has been an encouragement to you. And remember to stay drug free and don't use anyone else's prescriptions.